Good morning. Okay, so we are going to cover this week's news. So, have you read the newspapers? Shameless people saying no. Swaroop, how is Daman? Good morning. हाँ जी. I'll discuss about that. अभी आया 1.5 घंटे की क्लास है. करंट अफेयर्स पहले कर लूँ मैं तेज से, ठीक है? Okay, heavy rains. So all plan got bad. Chalo. So the first news that I'm going to discuss with you is welcome happening. That is robust institutional mechanism must be in place for human challenge studies. Now, what is this news talking about? पढ़ी हुई है? दिख रहा है? ठीक है. Chalo, with the bioethics unit of ICMR placing a consensus policy statement on controlled human infection studies. Now, which unit? Bioethics. And unit of what? ICMR. So, bioethics unit of ICMR is placing a consensus policy statement on what? On controlled human infection studies, that is CHIS. Now, India has taken the first step in clearing the deck for such studies to be undertaken here. Now, CHIS also called human challenge studies, where healthy volunteers are intentionally exposed to a disease causing microbe in a highly controlled and monitored environment. So, are you getting what they are trying to say? They are saying that they are going to expose who? Humans. And who are those humans? These are volunteers. Now, who are going to come forward by or on their own risk. So they will be exposed to a disease-causing microbe in a highly controlled and monitored environment, has been carried out for hundreds of years, an example being the yellow fever. So study in the early 1900s to establish that mosquitoes transmit the virus. So if you see basically what is happening when you expose the humans where to a disease-causing microbe, so you will get to know कि किसकी वजह से this thing was happening. जैसे एग्जाम्पल में इन्होंने बोला है आपका येलो फीवर. तो रिसर्चर्स ऑफ दैट टाइम डिडंट न्यू कि येलो फीवर कैसे होता है या क्यों हो रहा है. So what did they do was that they exposed the humans to the mosquitoes, and then they got to know that what it was transmitted because of the virus strain that was present. Now, typically, a less virulent strain of the microbe is used to study less deadly diseases that have proven drugs for treatment. They are more often undertaken on a small number of volunteers to understand the various facets of infections and disease. Now, what you need to do here is that, first of all, your ICMR body becomes very important. Why? You need to know what is the role of ICMR. ठीक है, तो इस न्यूज में आपके लिए क्या इंपॉर्टेंट हो गया है? Firstly, they are talking about here what human challenge studies are not done as an alternative to phase 3 efficacy trial. That means you need to study about ICMR. You need to study about ICMR. You need to study about CHIS, that is control human infection studies, and then you need to study about clinical trials. कोई भी drug before getting into the mainstream is being tried or not, पता है कि नहीं? For example, कोविड के जो वैक्सीन्स एंड ड्रग्स थे, एकदम से ही लाके लॉन्च कर दिया मार्केट में, या फिर देयर वाज सम काइंड ऑफ स्टडीज दैट वर गोइंग ऑन, या फिर क्लिनिकल ट्रायल्स किए गए हैं? So basically what is happening, that you should know what is the functioning of ICMR, you should know what is the functioning of bioethics unit, you should know what is CHIS, and apart from that you should also know what are clinical trials. ठीक है, clinical trials का मतलब क्या होता है? Now a clinical trial is a kind of investigational. So a clinical trial is what? It is used for investigational of or investigation of new drugs before launching it into the mainstream society. अगर मान लो आपने लॉन्च कर दिया उस ड्रग्स को बिना किसी के ऊपर टेस्ट किए, not you're not going to test it, then what is going to happen? You will never know what kind of havoc it is going to create. एक बार में सबको अफेक्ट कर दिया तो फिर ठीक है. So it is basically that you have to do what? There is a systematic study of new drugs in human subjects. That means these new drugs are being tested on who? Human subjects. अब ह्यूमन सब्जेक्ट्स पे कैसे कैसे स्टडी होगा? डू यू हैव इवन स्लाइटेस्ट ऑफ स्लाइट आइडिया? सुना होगा साइंस एंड टेक के लिए. सी जीएस पेपर 3 में तो इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, क्योंकि वहां पे यू हैव दिस साइंस पोर्शन, साइंस एंड टेक वाला. देन जीएस पेपर 2 अगेन वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. व्हाई? बिकॉज यू हैव दिस व्हाट institutional mechanism. So institutional mechanism, GS paper 2 important. Apart from that, it is talking about bioethics unit. So GS paper 4 also comes on to being. Why? Because is this practice ethical or not? ठीक है. अब ट्रायल कैसे होता है, या फिर बायोएथिक्स यूनिट जो बनाई गई है आईसीएमआर के अंडर, व्हाट इज द रोल ऑफ दिस बायोएथिक्स यूनिट? नाउ the name itself is saying what? It's a bioethics unit, है ना? So what it is going to take care of? Ethical standards. Ethical standards regarding what? Regarding biomedical and health research. समझ आ रहा है? न्यूज इंपॉर्टेंट है, ऐसा मतलब डोंट टेक इट वेरी लाइटली. हाँ जी. हाँ हाँ हाँ. अगर उस पर कुछ गलत हो जाता है तो that's why I said in the very first point only that those humans who are going to be tried are volunteers. उनको जबरदस्ती नहीं बुलाया गया है. They are the one who are coming by choice. हाँ नहीं, मतलब आप किस चीज में कह रहे हो कि गवर्नमेंट इज गोइंग टू गिव सम काइंड ऑफ कंपनसेशन या फिर? हाँ बोलो। हम जैसे यहाँ पे मान लो चल रहे हैं, सुबह ने मेरे ऊपर किया, अब मुझे कुछ होता है तो सुबह ऐसा डॉक्टर कुछ तो मतलब ऐसा करेगा कि हाँ चलो शायद ही यही रुक जाए चीजें या कुछ भी, कोई दवाई वगैरह या कोई और एंटीसेप्टिक वगैरह कुछ ऐसा। हाँ तो सी वही तो देखो क्या होगा कि फर्स्ट जो ड्रग होगा, व्हाट इज दैट ड्रग फॉर? दैट ड्रग इज फॉर प्रिवेंशन। आपको फॉर एग्जांपल कोविड हुआ है, ठीक है, सो जो भी ड्रग्स वी आर कमिंग और वी आर हैविंग, दैट ड्रग इज बेसिकली फॉर व्हाट? टू प्रिवेंट यू फ्रॉम दैट डिजीज, टू चेक दैट डिजीज, ठीक है। तो इफ इट इज गोइंग टू वर्क, दैट मीन्स दो कंडीशंस होंगी, इधर इट इज गोइंग टू वर्क गुड, तो गुड इनफ, ठीक है, एंड इफ इट्स नॉट गोइंग टू वर्क गुड या फिर इट विल हैव नो रिजल्ट, दूसरा कंडीशन ये होगा, एडवर्स होने के चांसेस कम है, क्योंकि व्हाई? बिकॉज वी आर यूजिंग इट एज अ प्रिवेंशन डिजीज और सॉरी प्रिवेंशन ड्रग, ठीक है। और इन केस अगर एडवर्स होता भी है तो दे विल यूज ऑल काइंड ऑफ स्टेप्स टू प्रोटेक्ट यू, बट देन ऑल्सो इन केस इफ थिंग्स गो रियली वर्स, देन हम उसमें क्या बोल रहे हैं कि द ह्यूमन हैज केम एज अ वॉलंटियर, तो वी विल प्रोवाइड द फाइनेंशियल हेल्प एज लॉन्ग एज इट इज पॉसिबल, क्योंकि अगर वॉलंटियर आ भी रहा है तो ऐसे थोड़ी आ जाएगा, सबको अपनी जान प्यारी है यार, तो वो कुछ प्रोटोकॉल देख के ही आएगा। एंड कैसे प्रोटोकॉल होंगे कि मतलब व्हाट विल आई बी गेटिंग? कोई अच्छे घर का इंसान तो आएगा नहीं अपने ऊपर टेस्ट करवाने, करेक्ट? सो दैट इज बिकॉज ऑफ दिस पर्पस। नाउ व्हाट हैपेंड? फाइन। अब नाउ दिस इज द वर्क ऑफ बायोएथिक्स यूनिट ऑफ ICMR, ठीक है। अच्छा, अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट आई आस्क्ड यू अबाउट क्लिनिकल ट्रायल्स, सो हाउ आर दीज क्लिनिकल ट्रायल्स टेकन? सो पहला जो इनका ट्रायल होता है दैट इज फेज 1, यही लिख दे रही हूँ, देखो पहला ट्रायल जो होता है उनका होता है फेज 1 ट्रायल। एंड व्हाट इज दिस फेज 1 ट्रायल? फेज 1 ट्रायल में दे आर चेकिंग और दे आर कीपिंग द पॉपुलेशन और द पीपल फ्रॉम 20 to 80 in numbers, 80, 80, या 20 to 80। अगर कुछ हुआ तो इतने लोगों को होगा ना, कोई भी सी एनी काइंड ऑफ एलर्जी। सुवन, आर यू अंडरस्टैंडिंग व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू टेल यू? It is basically talking about how the drugs are being tested on. So I am talking about the clinical trials and how these clinical trials take place. So first phase में क्या करते हैं? They are taking 20 to 80 numbers of people. Now इसमें they will take care of what? कि एज भी वाले हो, young भी हो, children भी हो. So you will get to know overall stats whether it's working out or not. ठीक है? Then if it's going to work effectively, then they are going for phase 2 trial. And phase 2 trial में what they are going to take place? Now in phase 2 trial they are going to take place 100 to 300 people. They have expanded their basket now, ठीक है? And उसी तरह third phase trial में they are going to take close to 3000 people. ठीक? And fourth वाले में now they are going to make that drug available to the general public for optimal use. Okay? इसका एक क्वेश्चन they usually ask about this clinical trial, so at least have a rough idea how these things are taking place. Okay? अब बोलो। नहीं, first में they have taken a set of people, they have tested the drug, they found that these people are okay and there are no issues with these, so now we are going to take another people that are 100 to 300 people. Because phase 1 trial was good enough, so they are going for phase 2 trial. Had it not been good enough for the phase 1 trial, वो वहीं पे stop हो जाता, ठीक है? Okay. Now, dangerous overhaul. Now, what is dangerous overhaul? See, Israel will be weaker, more authoritarian after undermining the judiciary. So, वहाँ के जो प्राइम मिनिस्टर हैं, Israeli prime. Have you people known the news about Israeli prime minister? No? Okay. So, Israel's prime minister Benjamin Netanyahu has done what? He has scored a legislative victory on Monday, and when his coalition passed an important part of his judicial overhaul plan in the Knesset is the place in Israel. So, what is that plan about? The controversial bill was passed with the support of Mr. Netanyahu's 64 coalition lawmakers against 0, while the opposition boycotted the vote and thousands protested outside the parliament. His coalition of right-wing and ultra-orthodox parties says the legislation which would take away the, now listen, what? Which would take away the Supreme Court's ability to review the government's unreasonable decisions is to bring a balance between government and judiciary. So if you see what is the Prime Minister of Israel trying to do, the Prime Minister of Israel is actually taking away what? The Supreme Court's ability to review the government's unreasonable decision. समझ आ रहा है क्या? What are you understanding with this news? They are actually trying to do what? Restrain the power of Supreme Court. Restrain the power of Supreme Court. And how are they trying to restrain the power of Supreme Court? By taking the ability of Supreme Court to review the what? Government's unreasonable decisions. Will it be dangerous for democracy or not? Huh? Public administration? So if you are going to restrain the power of Supreme Court for what? To check what government's power of what? Or to check government's unreasonable decision making. Agar, if this is the similar thing that is going to happen in India, for example, if you are going to do what? You are going to restrain the power of Supreme Court and the government is going to take along any decision they want, will it be dangerous for a democracy or not? So this is exactly what is happening. Israel में भी same चीज हो रही है. So what you need to do is that you need to know how is the constitution of Israel. Any idea? Written constitution or unwritten constitution? India is having a written constitution or unwritten constitution? Acha? Suan, why aren't you speaking? India is having a written constitution or an unwritten constitution. Written constitution, Israel is having an unwritten constitution. So what you need to do is you need to know how the appointment of Supreme Court judges is happening. So यहाँ पे इन्होंने देखो क्या किया है कि Israel's policy has shifted to the right, putting governments often led by right-wing or center-right parties with the support from far-right parties at odds with the judiciary. हो गई वही. Judiciary is there to check the decisions of the government, right? If any kind of illegal practices is happening, then who do you go to? Who is the highest or the apex body? Supreme Court, right? Decision making body, Supreme Court. So if you are going to put a restraint on that, then what is going to happen for a democracy? So Mr. Netanyahu allies want to fix this contradiction through the judicial overhaul, but the problem is that bringing the judiciary, the only power constitutional check on the government under government control, could cause the existing institutional balance in Israel's polity to deteriorate, especially when far-right parties are on the ascent. This is what triggered the protest by the workers, professionals, and reservists, who accused the PM of trying to undermine democracy. So, if there is a question that is going to appear for you or is going to come, so what you can do is you can definitely talk about what that similar is the thing that has gone in or that was happening in Israel. Now, further, what they are saying is, for the far-right parties in the ruling coalition, curtailing the powers of the Supreme Court is the obvious way to expedite Israel's transformation and the subjugation of Palestinians. So, ministers have said what? That they want more Jewish settlement in the occupied Palestinian territories and a crackdown on the disloyal Arab minority of the Jewish state. So, with the new legislation, the government's action cannot be nullified by the Supreme Court on the ground that they were unreasonable. So, what is going to happen if the Supreme Court's power is being curtailed? So, what is going to happen? एक तो पहला issue क्या होगा? Palestinian. Fine. So Palestinian issue aega. What? This government is going to do something regarding this. And दूसरा इन्होंने क्या बोला है? They are going to crack down on the disloyal Arab minorities of the Jewish state. So next is the cause for the Jewish state. So all in all, what you need to know is, since it is talking about democracy, since it is talking about the power to curtail the powers of the Supreme Court, so you should know how the appointment of Supreme Court is happening in Israel. At the same time, you should also know how the appointment of Supreme Court judges is happening in your country. So how is Supreme Court judges or how is the appointment of judges happening in India? पिछली क्लास में बताया था collegium system. Okay, so you should know about the collegium system because this news is here. Fine. आगे चले. Any issues? The next news in your screen is moving away from the take, make, dispose model. So what are basically they trying to say? Now see, resource efficiency and circular economy are powerful strategies that can effectively minimize dependence on natural resources. ठीक है? So economy aspects में, that is GS paper 3, there are two things that they are talking about. What is that? One is your resource efficiency. And the other thing that they are talking about is your circular economy. अब ये दोनों चीजें न्यूज में है. Please do it. Very important regarding main section. How come resource efficiency and circular economy going to minimize the dependence on natural resources? So how is this going to happen? Now see, resource efficiency and circular economy are powerful strategies that can effectively minimize dependence on natural resources. And how this will happen? This will happen by curtailing the waste and encouraging the sustainable design practice. What do you mean by sustainable design practices? That means the resource that can be used even today, and the similar resource can be preserved in a manner that it could be used by the coming generations also. ऐसा नहीं हो जाए कि पेट्रोल आज सारा यूज कर लिया सो खत्म. Okay, so this is how you have to channelize or revitalize your economy so that you have a design. Kaisa design? So that you could actually curtail waste and also encourage sustainable. Is it visible to you all? Are you understanding now? News understand? समझ आ रहा है? Explanation समझ आ रहा है? Okay, so curtail waste and use how sustainable design practices. In the collective global endeavor to ensure sustainable development and realize the SDGs. Do you have the sustainable development goals? I have sent you the PDF. Okay. Sustainable development goals, decoupling resource utilization from economic growth is going to be the key. So recognizing the need to switch from take, make, dispose to reduce, reuse and recycle. So what they are talking about, that you should move away from take, make, dispose to what? Reduce, reuse and recycle. Are you understanding what they are trying to say? We were having what kind of model? You take the all the components, you make it, and when you use it, you dispose it off. Okay? Now what they are saying is that you need to reduce, because I told you that you have to work on what? Sustainable development goals. So reduce your usage, and then if possible reuse it again. Natural resources रहेंगे so all possible. ठीक है? And then recycle. This is what people are doing with water also, right? So they are saying that you should take, make, dispose to reduce, reuse and recycle. Okay. So what are they saying? That India has prioritized resource efficiency and circular economy as one of the 3 core themes for deliberation in G20 forums. तो इन्होंने एक चीज और बोल दी है. What is that? Just a minute. Okay, so they are saying that G20 Global Forum, India has done what? India has prioritized what? Resource efficiency and circular economy. ठीक है? Now what they are saying is that India has embraced 4 priority areas for circular economy during its G20 presidency. So circularity in the steel sector, that is now what they are talking about. They are talking about EPR, extended producer responsibility, circular bioeconomy, and establishing an industry-led resource efficiency and circular economy industry coalition. That means what are the 4 priority areas for them? The 4 priority areas for them are, Pehla, they are saying that extended producer responsibility, EPR. Have you studied EPR? Then is your circular bioeconomy. Then they are saying what? Industry-led resource efficiency. And the next one is circular economy industry coalition. So circular economy industry coalition. There is now heightened recognition of resource efficiency and circular economy strategies within the G20 community. Now, how they are going to go? Have you heard about extended producer responsibility? नहीं पढ़ा है आपने? It is important. It is there in economics. Just a minute. Okay. So EPR is actually, what is EPR? See, for example, there is a person, there is a manufacturing industry. Okay. So now say the manufacturing industry is of mine. So I am taking the responsibility of manufacturing a product. Okay. Now it is my responsibility of what? How am I going to use that product? How am I going to sell that product? How am I going to actually maintain it? What? That these products can be reused, recycled, etc. So this is extended producer responsibility. That means the producer has now got the responsibility that, for example, if I have to make a product which is nature friendly, okay, if the product is nature friendly, then I have to make it sure that the component and the products that I am using for that product, that should not harm the environment. So whose responsibility is this? This is the producer's responsibility. And who is the producer? Me. So that is what they are saying. This is EPR, that is extended producer responsibility should be there. For example, there's a lot of waste that is generated from the industries that is being disposed where? On the grounds or in the water areas. Okay. Now, if the manufacturers take the responsibility to themselves, what is going to happen? Environment will be cleaner. पर लेते कहाँ हैं? ठीक है. So that's what they are talking about, that you should have what? Extended producer responsibility. Understood, Suvan? ठीक है. So moving to, now they are taking what? Circular steel. They are actually taking steel sector, and then they are discussing about the circular economy over here. Right? So most G20 member countries have committed to net zero ambitions and are working. See, this is what I was telling you. This is the example what I was giving, and are working to mitigate greenhouse gas emissions. Just now I told you that this is my responsibility, that I'm going to use the products, or how am I going to dispose the waste is the responsibility of the producer. तो वो यही कह रहे हैं कि you have to mitigate what? Greenhouse gases. Fine? ठीक है. In order to ensure growing resource consumption in an environmentally responsible manner. वही बताया अभी. ठीक है. Now there is also a need to raise the current recycling rates of 15 to 25%. मतलब if there is a recycling that is happening of 15%, now we should raise it to 25%. Now, given the crucial role of steel in infrastructure development, its efficient utilization is important. Now they are saying that steel sector is very important in infrastructure development. So you just can't avoid steel sector, right? Steel ka usage you can't avoid. So what is going to happen is that you need to make it prime, or you need to make it very correct to yourself, that you are going to utilize that steel as efficiently as you can. So you're not going to waste it. Okay? So how is this going to happen? Now demand for steel is growing in growing economies such as India. Now globally, about 7% of energy sector emission is attributed to iron and steel production. Transitioning towards a circular steel sector is a key strategy to tackle steel sector emission. The key lies in ensuring collaboration among the G20 member countries for knowledge sharing, technology co-development, and technology transfer. So what is happening? The presidency document for knowledge exchange on circular economy in the steel sector is a potential blueprint for a net zero pathway for the steel industry, reducing resource utilization and minimizing wastage. अब तुम देखो what they are all in all saying, that I have told you how the producer is going to be responsible for the steel it is going to use. Am I getting too fast? समझ आ रहा है? Actually, I have got the time of 1.5 hours. I will try if it becomes 2 hours. And I have 1 week's news. And I have to explain you all. So, am I fast? Are you able to understand? See, what is going to happen? You are going to get the handouts of current affairs. Right? So, वहाँ पे you can have the revision. But at least you should know what was there in the newspaper this week. You shouldn't be a person who just doesn't know what was there in the newspaper and you are preparing for the civil services. Okay? So right now when you just go out from the class, at least you should know that, okay, this week what were we talking about? We were talking about resource efficiency. We were talking about how what was going on in Israel, how was the judiciary working out there. Then we should also know about the gig economy, how was the trade deficit, etc. Okay? So now have you got what does EPR means? What is circular economy meaning, and especially in the steel sector. Why in steel sector? Because India, for example, countries like India are working on their infrastructure development. So infrastructure development may you require a lot of steel. Fine. So when you require a lot of steel, you have to make it a point that all the steel is reutilized efficiently. Done? Okay. So under India's G20 presidency, there is an emphasis on the significance of EPR framework. That is what exactly I was telling. That is extended producer responsibility framework in integrating the circularity throughout the value chain, as different countries have implemented different EPR models. मतलब the EPR model is varying from country to country. क्या बोला मैंने अभी? फिर हिला दिया. अरे why are you getting so cold? You want medicine? Okay. So as different countries have implemented different EPR model, it is necessary that G20 member countries share best practices to accelerate the transitions to a circular economy. Recycling, a bioeconomy and biofuels, effective implementation of EPR plays a pivotal role in promoting the growth of recycling infrastructure and establishing a streamlined waste collection system. Are you understanding what they are trying to say? Yeah. What? Hanji? What? Yeah. They are actually talking about how they are going to manage the waste, right? So he's actually loud. There's no issues. Okay, fine. Now they in this paragraph they are talking about how they are going with the waste collection, waste management and the waste collection over here. Okay. Now since 1970, the consumption of biological resources in G20 member countries has risen 2.5 times. Now bio-waste such as municipal and industrial waste and agriculture residue has become a global issue as much of it is burnt, causing Pollution, biodiversity loss, and global warming. Combined with crops well suited for degraded lands, bio-waste can serve as valuable primary raw materials and viable substitutes for mineral resources. So adopting a circular economy, circular bioeconomy in fact, will reduce the need for extracting virgin resources and provide an effective waste disposal solution. Now, as the heading itself said, what? Take, make, dispose should be replaced with what? Reduce, recycle, reduce, reuse, and recycle. So that this is exactly what this article is talking about. ठीक है? अब Government of India has been working towards the adoption of biofuels. Have you studied this? Biofuels? कहाँ पढ़ा? Where have you studied? Current affairs class. So the Pradhan Mantri Jeevan Yojna provides, now the government scheme that they are talking about is PM Jeevan Yojna. And what is this Yojna all about? This Jeevan Yojna is providing financial support to integrated bioethanol projects to set up second generation yani 2G ethanol projects. So 2G bioethanol technology produces bioethanol from waste feedstocks such as, पता है ना ये? नहीं? See, they are talking about what? To have bioethanols. Okay? And they are saying bioethanol 2G. Now, where is this going to come from? So, if you want the fuel, which fuel? Bioethanol. That means, अब देखो ethanol fuel है, ठीक है? Now, bio, that means through biological means and all. Fine. So, that's the name why we are saying it bioethanol. And ethanol is being used many where. ठीक है? ठीक है? So, when bioethanol they are talking about, so where is this bioethanol going to come from? So they are saying that second generation bioethanol is going to come from crop residues. Which are those crop residues? Huh? Sugarcane. Okay. So bioethanol from waste feedstocks such as crop residues and municipal solid waste that would otherwise have no value. जो भी waste होगा, you are actually going to dispose it off. What if you are going to use it for having bioethanol? So it is going to be reused, and that is what they are saying. कि फेंकने से तो अच्छा है. If you are going to dispose the waste, it's better that you recycle and reuse it. ठीक है? So additionally, India has also made it mandatory for coal burning thermal power plants. क्या मैंडेटरी किया है? टू यूज अ 5% ब्लेंड इन बायोमास पेलेट्स अलोंग विथ कोल. सो जो भी थर्मल पावर प्लांट्स हैं, all the thermal power plants where coals are being used, government has made it mandatory that you should use what? 5% of your biomass pellets, or that should be blend with 5% of biomass pellets. ठीक है? So now the galvanizing organic bio agro resources Dhan scheme was launched by Government of India to convert what? Cattle dung and other organic waste into compost, biogas and biofuels for what? To promote sustainable agriculture and reduce pollutions. Fine. Now wait over just a minute. Okay. So with over 500 functional biogas plants, the scheme has also helped create rural livelihood and ensured improved sanitation. Hoga ye? All the waste that is coming from your agriculture area or from the rural section, that is going to be utilized. Sara waste. So what is going to happen? Sanitation अच्छा हो जाएगा, and there will be a source of livelihood also. Fine. So are you see, crop residue वैसे भी वो खराब होता. The crop residue that was ultimately a waste. And what if you are going to use it for creation of bioethanol? It is going to serve the purpose for the rural people also, sanitation purpose also, For the environment purpose also, greenhouse gases will be prevented. And what else? It will help you for having a circular economy. Good, clean chit, fine. The sustainable alternative towards sustainable alternative towards affordable transportation schemes launched in 2018 to promote the use of compressed biogas as an alternative green transportation fuel has aided the bioenergy sector by accelerating the development of infrastructure for what? For production, storage and distribution of compressed biogas. So now this is the conclusion point. As industries are crucial in advancing resource efficiency and circular economy practice, India has envisioned an industry coalition in these areas. The coalition will also aim to achieve what? Enhance technological collaboration, build advanced capabilities across sector, mobilize de-risked finance, facilitate a proactive private sector engagement. Global platforms such as G20 play an important role in addressing key issues and representing the solution. And what is that solution? Resource efficiency and circular economy has came out as a key solution in tackling what? Triple planetary challenges. And India's G20 presidency has focused extensively on these approaches, which is going to offer promising pathways towards a sustainable and resilient future. Beautiful article. Understood? कौन से की पॉइंट्स कवर किए थे? टेल मी. लेट मी ड्रिंक वाटर. What are the things that समझ आ गया ना आर्टिकल? ठीक है. The next one is they are saying what? Now, still incomplete, India's ties with Sri Lanka are bound by Tamil questions. So, how is one India and Sri Lanka relations when it comes with Tamil in the middle? अरे शर्माने की क्या बात है इसमें? Now, this. Huh? They are, half of them they are speaking Tamilians, है ना? Yeah. See, here what you need to do is you need to study about India and Sri Lanka international relations. Okay, and what is the news all about? Now they say that with the joint statement on economic cooperation, India and Sri Lanka outlined a forward-looking vision for their relation. The statement entitled "Promoting what? Connectivity, Catalyzing Prosperity, India-Sri Lanka Economic Partnership Vision." So this is a talk between our Prime Minister and the latter's President. New investment in maritime air connectivity will involve developing ports and airports in Sri Lanka. Now, this is all about economic purpose. Now, other than that, what India and Sri Lanka have talked about. Now, a memorandum of understanding, a MOU, was signed to operationalize UPI digital payment in Sri Lanka to designate what? The Indian rupee as currency for trade. Indian rupee is being used as a currency for trade in Sri Lanka. Other than that, what they have said, they also agreed to explore ways of enhancing this is MOU, and other than that, they have talked about enhancing tourism and also cultural and religious travels. While the vision statement revealed a comprehensive plan for the future, What it lacked was the conspicuous, none of the written documents are released. Well, this is not important. What you need to know is that India or Sri Lanka ka relation is how? How is India Sri Lanka's relation? Ajay, what are the areas where India and Sri Lanka are having the relations? For example, they are having the relations with respect to the trade. Trade mein hoga. They have FTAs, that are free trade agreements, that are signed between India and Sri Lanka. Other than that, I have told you in the first paragraph, they are also having what? They are talking about development. And what kind of development? Increasing the connectivity. Okay. So all this is the areas where India and Sri Lanka are having good ties. Now, when I come on to the, do India and Sri Lanka are having issues also? Where? अच्छा आपने तो किया हुआ है ना यार, चलो बताओ. Which field or which area they are having issues? हाँ? Island issues. अच्छा और फिशरमैन, क्या है फिशरमैन वाला इशू? What is the issue of the fishermen? हाँ? Boundaries, okay. Boundaries issue है. What else? Have you heard about deep trawling, bottom trawling? So that is also the issue. उसमें क्या होता है प्राची? You know, in order to have what? See, if you are going very deep, and you are using all those sand, etc., what is going to happen? This is going to affect the nature, right? So bottom trawling, what they are doing is that you are permitted to a certain level where you can do fishing, and beyond that, what is going to happen? It is going to affect the environment. Am I correct? So this is about the issues between India and Sri Lanka. You don't need to worry, because when you will do IR, you will do it there. ठीक है. उसके अलावा क्या है? Have you heard about the Kachha Tiu land? That is also an issue between India and Sri Lanka. ठीक है. Apart from that, there are many stalled projects between India and Sri Lanka. That is also a bone of contention between them. क्या हो गया? Okay. Semiconductors, what exactly is India going to manufacture? Semiconductors क्या होते हैं? What are semiconductors? अच्छा, the conductivity of semiconductors is how? बताओ. Semiconductor सुना नहीं तुम्हारा? तो साइंस था ना. You tell. अच्छा कोई सेमीकंडक्टर ही बताओ. एनी नेम ऑफ द सेमीकंडक्टर, एनी सेमीकंडक्टर नेम ही बता दो. What were you saying? Tell me. बोलो. Why? Okay. So sand plays a vital role in our daily lives. Used in its raw form, it is a foundation material for building homes. Purify the sand a little more, and it becomes the foundation of semiconductor industry. India is currently waking up its opportunity, vice versa, in semiconductors. Access to underlying technologies have been a long-standing dream of our nation. So what basically they are going to do now? What is a semiconductor chip? At its core, a semiconductor chip is composed of transistors, which in turn are meticulously crafted from a specially selected material, typically silicon. And what are these transistors, or what are these transistors having? They are having the source, the gate, and the drain. Okay, so what is basically happening now? Indian government and private players are sensible to begin their semiconductors journey with the legacy nodes, improving their game over time. So what are basically happening? See, the choice of semiconductors, why we are thinking about this advanced technology, because semiconductors are almost used in most of the devices. And what are those devices? Those devices are your smartphones, laptops, and their applications are used in your robotics, defense, aerospace, industry automation tools, automobiles, Internet of Things, image sensors, and hence we need to do what? We need to be very serious about semiconductors. So what you need to do is you need to know about semiconductors. You need to know about how should the manufacturing of semiconductors should be increased in the country. ठीक है, कोई इशू इसमें? The article is more about ki, what are chips, when was the chip invented, and etc. What you need to take away from this article is that what is semiconductor and how should the production of semiconductors be increased. Fine? Okay. What does India's first gig workers right bill stipulate? What is gig economy? अब तो पढ़ाते पढ़ाते बहुत टाइम हो गया. Must be knowing what is gig economy. क्या हो गया? अभी सुना था बरसों पहले. Okay, chalo. On July 24th, Rajasthan government passed the Rajasthan Platform-Based Gig Worker Registration and Welfare Bill 2023. Acha, why is it in news? Because Rajasthan government has passed the Rajasthan Platform-Based Gig Workers Registration Welfare Bill 2023. Now, it is the first legislation of its kind in India outlining welfare schemes for the states. Approximately 3 lakh gig workers. Now, what is the... Okay, so they are basically talking about the bill over here. And what do you know about the gig economy workers? So, under existing labor laws, gig workers who are named partners by platforms are not employees because there is not a fixed term of employment marked by providing exclusive service to one provider for a specified duration. The Code on Social Security passed in 2020 and yet to be implemented carried restrictive criteria about eligibility, which are done away with the Rajasthan bill. So what you need to know about is that firstly आपको ये पता होना चाहिए what is gig economy. Then you should know about the workers in the gig economy. Fine. Now, if I talk about the gig economy workers, now there are 2 types of gig workers. What are or who are those? One are your platform workers and other are your non-platform workers. So, platform workers कौन से होते हैं और non-platform workers कौन से होते हैं? They are talking about platform workers and then they are talking about non-platform workers. Any idea who are platform workers and who are non-platform workers? Be a bit loud. IT? Which what kind of workers? See, the kind of work that is being defined in our acts and laws, in that kind of work, the employer and the employee are present in the same workspace. Okay. When the gig economy came, what is this gig economy? आपके all those Flipkart delivery boys, your Blinkit, your this Zomato, Swiggy, etc. All they are the part of gig economy. Okay. So now tell me, who are the platform workers and who are the non-platform workers? See, when you are talking about the platform workers, when you are talking about the platform workers, you tell me, Zomato, Swiggy are one platform. Like Zomato is one platform and the Swiggy is another platform, right? So all those workers who are working in these platforms are the platform workers, while non-platform workers फिर क्या होंगे? Who are those who are the non-platform workers? अभी तक what happened? Am I going wrong somewhere or what? You want to tell her secret things? Okay. So non-platform workers, have you ever heard about the freelancers? So those will be acting as your non-platform workers. Okay, because they are the one who are called upon when the service of there is required. Fine. So just write one question, and if you get the time, then answer it. What is gig economy? What is gig economy? Mention the provisions to bring gig workers under social security net. To get gig workers under social security net. Net. And what are the efforts? What are the efforts done by the government to bring change in such economy? Fine. Okay. So this was about the gig economy. Now let's move on to the new news. Now this news is important with respect to your disaster management. Disaster management is done. So when you're done, okay. इन लोग का नहीं हुआ है. So disaster management. Now what they are talking about is that 75 people still untraced in landslip that hit the village. So what you need to know about is they are talking about the heavy downpour. So you need to know about the risk mitigation, risk mitigation regarding what? Regarding the landslips. ठीक है, so with respect to disaster management this topic becomes important and landslip you need to study about. ठीक है, how you are what happens in landslips, that means ये सारा का सारा land आपका this is driving down, so you need to know what is landslip, how you are going to mitigate the risk. Fine, okay. ED's power to arrest and arrest and seek custody. So see, all most of this is about political news. So you don't need to go deep into analysis of the political news. What you need to know is what is ED. ED is what? What is the full form? Enforcement Directorate. ठीक है, and you should know where is the power of Enforcement Directorate lying. Any idea? Enforcement Directorate किससे deal करते हैं? Enforcement Directorates are dealing with what? Huh? Money laundering. Okay, so all those acts from where they are deriving power. Prevention of Money Laundering Act, PMLA 2002. Then you have Foreign Exchange Management Act, FEMA. There also EDs are involved. Then you have Fugitive Economic Offenders Act. Who are fugitives? प्राची, आप लोगों ने नहीं किया अभी तक इकोनॉमिक्स में? PMLA, Prevention of Money Laundering Act, Fugitive Economic Offenders Act, nahin? You know about fugitive economic offenders? All your those people who have who have kind of ran away from the country, and who are those? नाम तो पता ही होगा. IPL नहीं देख रहे हो क्या? अब तो पता चल गया होगा. Arey, these people do, see, under Fugitive Economic Offenders Act, you will do it, or if you are not doing it, then I'm telling you the act. Act is what? Fugitive Offenders Act. Now, who is declared as fugitive? So it allows what? Now it allows an offender, or it allows the person to arrest that offender on the economic offense of what? More than rupees 100 crores. That means a person who is actually done the act of what? More than 100 crore, or he has ran away from the country, of the economic offense of more than 100 crore. So under economic offense of more than 100 crore, the person will be declared as what? Offender. And if he refuses to return back to home, what is going to happen? He has to face the prosecution charges. So who will be looking after this? Special court will be designated to look after it. So it is just that you should know about these acts, etc. Okay, so ED has got the power here also, what? To declare a person as an offender. Okay, can ED declare me as an offender? बोल दो मैम, 100 करोड़ का है आपके पास. So all those people who are involved in the activities of more than economic offense of more than rupees 100 crores will be declared as an offender by ED under Fugitive Economic Offenders Act. ठीक है, अगर कोई तुमसे कहे कि वो भाग गया, ये भाग गया, तो उसे बोलना क्या कि he is a economic fugitive economic offender. Fine, be very sensible with this. Downhill driving, shrinking trade volumes pose a risk for this year's growth hopes. So what is it saying? After hitting a record of $775 billion in 2022 to 23, India's exports are off to a rocky start this year. So basically what they are saying is, or what they are talking about is your trade and how is the trade shrinking. So let's check this out. Now what they are saying is that outbound shipments of goods that had crossed the number, okay, the numbers are not important, so there has been a decline. What? You are not okay na? दवा चाहिए? So there has been a decline in import bill as well as over the first quarter, albeit. Now, what are they saying? That service exports are still growing, but at a far more somber pace. That IT majors who drive most of these intangible exports have been tentatively and decidedly downcast about their earning guidance. So what is happening? Frail global demand may not just impact trade flow but also hurt foreign direct investments. So ministry noted recently, if these trends deepen, the 6.5 growth hopes for the year would wobble, but in retail sales in the UK have improved in June, although fractionally. The US Treasury Secretariat has excluded confidence that a recession in the world's largest economy may be averted after all. So they are basically talking about all those issues that have been occurring. So within the overall downhill trend of exports, the few bright spots such as, what are those? Rising shipments of electronic goods. So bright hopes are from which area? So that is rising shipments of electronic goods must flourish while trade comes or obstacles affecting other products must be reviewed. So Indian policy makers should redouble effort to improve competitiveness within the rivals such as Vietnam and keep a closer watch on the divergent trend in the different markets. And what is the reason? To help exporters capture incremental, even if fractional, global demand. So they are basically talking about that India has to keep a check on who? Their own competitors or their own rivals, and need to keep a check on the market, and with respect to that they should get the products, and which would eventually lead to what? Increasing demand. So this shall help India to sail through. Okay. No trust motion. Again, the news is political here, so not required for deeper analysis. Just a second, let me check what else I have to cover. Parliamentary privilege, okay, and shedding light on the dilemmas. Okay, so two news are important. Let me do this one first. Okay, no trust motion against the government. You people are seeing in the picture what is it all about India for Manipur. So are you people aware of the incidents that has happened in Manipur? Manipur is burning, right? So that is what the opposition is demanding. And what is the opposition saying? That the prime minister is not speaking and is not talking about the matter. So what you need to do here is, or what is important for you people to know is, you need to study about the no confidence motion from the polity book. Okay, so you should know about the no confidence motion. Other than that, they are saying about Manipur, so you should also know about the issue in the Manipur. Do people know about the Manipur issue? The issue is between who? Between who? Huh? Yeah, the two tribes that are your Metis and your Kuki tribes. So Metis, and basically Metis and Naga and Kuki tribes. Okay? And the Metis tribes are in which area of the Manipur? Huh? नहीं, basically जो Naga Kuki tribes and the Metis tribes, these people are surviving. One tribe is surviving in the hill areas and one is in the plain areas. And the issue is behind what? That these Metis tribe are wanting what? Reservations. They are wanting what? The status of tribals, right? And they are wanting what? More represent. See, they are having a more representation in the assembly, but then too they are asking for more power. So that will create a what? Regional imbalance in the area, right? Yahi issue hai na? Is there any other issue? And that is why they are fighting, right? And Naga or the Kuki tribes are not in the favor of this, and they are continuously protesting. With this, what will happen? There will be what? There will be more power to the Metis, and hence their issues will go unchecked, right? So this is about, you should know about the Manipur crisis, you should know about the no confidence motion. Next news, again, it is all about the political news, so you don't need to cover the news over here. The only thing that you need to cover from your part is the parliamentary privileges. Okay, so there are certain parliamentary privileges that are given. Why these privileges are important? What is the role that is being placed? What is the role that is being played because of these parliamentary privileges? Okay, so you need to study about parliamentary privileges through your book. This is the static portion. Chalo, thankfully we have came to the last news. Now the news says that you need to be shedding more light on the debt dilemma. So the elevated levels of India's fiscal deficit and public debt. Now they are talking about two terms. What are those two terms? The two terms are your fiscal deficit and your public debt. So the elevated levels of India's fiscal deficit and public debt have been a matter of concern for a long time in India. Even before the COVID-19 pandemic, the debt levels were among the highest in the developing world and the emerging market economies. So the pandemic pushed the envelope further, and relative to GDP, the fiscal deficit in 2021 is increased to 13.3% and the aggregate public debt to 89.6%. As the economy recovered after pandemic, the deficit and the debt ratio have receded to 8.9%. So what they are talking about, the projection shows that even without any serious disruption to the economy, the debt level is unlikely to return to the pre-pandemic trajectory. So with elections to a number of states scheduled in 2023 and with general election for 2024, the electoral budget cycle could push the debt ratio. Now, बहुत ज़्यादा वो पढ़ लिया. You should tell me now what is the GDP debt ratio. क्या है आपका GDP debt ratio? Sorry, they are talking about your GDP. Yeah. So what is your debt to GDP ratio? Sorry, debt to GDP ratio. What do you mean by so? You have heard about it. Debt to GDP ratio. What do you mean by this? If I am saying that you need to calculate the debt to GDP ratio, what do you mean by this? हाँ हाँ वो तो I understand, but like what is the reason of calculation of debt to GDP ratio? What is the reason behind this? See, you mark the country's growth by the GDP calculation. So debt is whatever kind of loans you have taken from or government has taken, right? So if you have to pay back the debt, okay, if you have to pay back the debt, and this is saying debt to GDP ratio, what are they trying to say? That if you have to pay back the debt, keeping in mind whatever the GDP of the country is at the present time, so how much time are you going to take to pay back that debt? Okay, so this is the reason why we calculate debt to GDP ratio. Fine. So इसमें you need to know about this. Now, what are the issues they are saying? So they have said that the issue is of critical importance. What? The fast pacing of fiscal consolidation is imperative. Fortunately, after 6 years, GST has stabilized and has shown high growth potential. As the technology platform has stabilized, it is expected to maintain high buoyancy in the medium term. The technology has helped to improve tax administration and improve compliance with the cross matching of GST returns with income tax return, income tax compliance too is expected to improve. So in the medium term, the aggregate tax to GDP ratio is likely to increase by 1.5% to 2% points. So what they are trying to say is that you should talk about fiscal consolidation. What is fiscal consolidation? Fiscal consolidation का मतलब क्या होता है? Is it light coming in my eyes or you are also feeling the same? चलो, fiscal consolidation. Acha, how are you going to consolidate the fiscal? How are you going to do the fiscal consolidation? Acha, why is it required? Why is it required? Fiscal consolidation to हाँ क्या होगा? Proper record, and see what they are saying is that as it is going to you are going for a faster pace of fiscal consolidation. They are saying that this is going to help. How? Because if technology is also used, this will help in tax administration, improve compliance, GST returns. You will have good income tax returns, income tax compliance also. So how fiscal consolidation, this will help. This will happen through good technology. And how fiscal consolidation is going to help? That will help in lowering your debt. अगर आपको पता चल जाएगा what कि आपका कितना how much debt is there, and if you are going to keep a check on your fiscal things, so what is going to happen? It is going to help you in framing better economic policies, right? Higher income growth, higher economic growth of the country. ठीक है? So when higher economic growth होगी, अच्छा, COVID was kind of a pandemic that happened and that brought economic shocks also. So if there is a good fiscal consolidation and the government knows about it, so won't the government able to manage the future fiscal shocks effectively? Because we will have a good economic growth pattern also, right? So how will you have this good fiscal consolidation? See, fiscal consolidation kaise? Whatever debt you have taken from the market, you should have a very clear statement about it कि this much is there. ठीक है? Now, if you want to check all those, how you are going to check? First step you can do is what? See, you should keep a check on those people who are avoiding tax. So better tax payment, so consolidation check हो जाएगा. ठीक है? What else? If you increase the tax base, then that will also help. Tax base अगर increase हो जाए, if you are going to cover more people into the tax base, so that will also help. What else? Acha, there last class when Swaroop was here, he was telling that the government, state government came with a scheme where they were giving 15,000, right? So they were up 15,000. He was telling that there was this scheme where I think the mothers were given, all those mothers who were sending their children to school every year, they were going to get 15,000 month. Sorry, 15,000 year. ठीक है? So what happened now? He said that पहले तो उनको मिला ही नहीं, and all those beneficiaries were the people who were from the administration. ठीक है? So if you see, if there is a direct benefit transfer to the people who are actually the needy of the scheme, so wouldn't it help in raising the standard of living also of the people? होगा कि नहीं होगा? जिसके पास जाना चाहिए उसी के पास जाएगी ना, right? So this will also help in fiscal consolidation. Now, other than that, you can also do what? If you enhance the compliance of what? That whatever need to be done is done by the people. They are not able to evade tax. This shall also lead to what? Fiscal consolidation, meeting all those things, or sorry, checking the fiscal consolidation. Okay, so you need to do about you need to know about this much. What is fiscal consolidation? How could be fiscal consolidation checked, etc. ठीक है? कोई इशू? चेक कर लो अपने नोट्स. कहाँ? अरे क्यों नहीं जा सकते? ओके, थैंक यू सो मच.